Hey guys, it's Miss Campbell here with your day's edition of hashtag Storytime with Cowbell. As most of you all are probably aware, today was supposed to be our opening day for Annie, but you know, these circumstances have kept us away from that, but we will postpone it, so stay tuned for more information about that. Since I'm all in the musical thing, Annie and Seussical, I thought that the story that I would read for you was about our musical from last year, featured on the story Horton Hears a Who, written by Dr. Seuss. Remember, this is an AR test, so after I read this, you can get online and take the AR test on it if you have not already. On the 15th of May, in the jungle of Newell, in the heat of the day in the cool of the pool, he was splashing, enjoying the jungle's great joys, when Horton the elephant heard a small noise. So Horton stopped splashing. He looked toward the sound. "That's funny," thought Horton. "There's no one around." Then he heard it again, just a very faint yelp, as if some tiny person were calling for help. "I'll help you," said Horton, "but who are you? Where?" He looked and he looked. He could see nothing there but a small speck of dust blowing past through the air. "I say," murmured Horton, "I've never heard tell of a small speck of dust that is able to yell. So you know what I think? Why, I think that there must be someone on top of that small speck of dust. Some sort of a creature of very small size, too small to be seen by an elephant's eyes. Some poor little person who's shaking with fear that he'll blow in the pool. He has no way to steer. I'll just have to save him because, after all, a person's a person, no matter how small." So, gently and using the greatest of care, the elephant stretched his great trunk through the air, and he lifted the dust speck and carried it over, and he placed it down safe on a very small clover. "Humph!" humped a voice. 'Twas a sour kangaroo, and the young kangaroo in her pouch said, "Humph!" too. "Why, that speck is as small as the head of a pin. A person on that? Why, there never has been." "Believe me," said Horton, "I tell you sincerely. My ears are quite keen, and I heard them quite clearly. I know there's a person down there, and what's more, quite likely there's two, even three, even four. Quite likely a family, for all that we know, a family with children just starting to grow. So please," Horton said, "as a favor to me, try not to disturb them. Just please let them be." "I think you're a fool," laughed the sour kangaroo, and the young kangaroo in her pouch said, "Me too. You're the biggest blamed fool in the jungle of Newell." And the kangaroo plunged into the cool of the pool. "What a terrible splashing," the elephant frowned. "I can't let my very small persons get drowned. I've got to protect them. I'm bigger than they." So he plucked up the clover and he hustled away. Through the high jungle tree tops, the news quickly spread. "He talks to a dust speck. He's out of his head. Just look at him walk with that speck on the flower." And Horton walked worrying almost an hour. "Should I put this speck down?" Horton thought with alarm. "If I do, these small persons may come to great harm. I can't put it down, and I won't. After all, a person's a person, no matter how small." Then Horton stopped walking. The speck voice was talking. The voice was so faint he could just barely hear it. "Speak up, please," said Horton, and he put his ear near it. "My friend," came the voice, "you're a very fine friend. You've helped us all folks on this dust speck to no end. You've saved all of our houses, our ceilings and floors. You've saved all of our churches and grocery stores." "You mean," Horton gasped, "you have buildings there too?" "Oh, yes," piped the voice, "we most certainly do." "I know," called the voice, "I'm too small to be seen, but I'm mayor of a town that is friendly and clean. Our buildings to you would seem terribly small, but to us who aren't big, they are wonderfully tall. My town is called Hoodville, for I am a Who, and we Whos are all thankful and grateful to you." And Horton called back to the mayor of the town, "You're safe now. Don't worry. I won't let you down." But just as he spoke to the mayor of the speck, 3 big jungle monkeys climbed up Horton's neck. The Wickersham brothers came shouting, "What rot! This elephant's talking to who's who are not. They aren't any who's and they don't have a mayor, and we're going to stop all this nonsense. So there." They snatched Horton's clover. They carried it off to a black-bottomed eagle named Vladikov, a mighty strong eagle, of very swift wing, and they said, "Will you kindly get rid of this thing?" And before the old elephant could even speak, the eagle flew off with the flower in his beak. All that late afternoon and far into the night, that black-bottomed bird flapped his wings in fast flight, while Horton chased after with groans over stones that tattered his toenails and battered his bones, and begged, "Please don't harm all my little folks who have just as much right to live as us bigger folks do." But far, far beyond him, that eagle kept flapping, and over his shoulder called back, "Quit your yapping. I'll fly through the night, though. I'm a bird. I don't mind it. And I'll hide this tomorrow. Well, you'll never find it." And at 6:56 the next morning, he did it, and sure was a terrible place that he hid it. He let that small clover drop somewhere inside of a great patch of clovers 100 miles wide. "Find that," sneered the bird, "but I think that you will fail." And he left with a flip of his black-bottomed tail.